Hey y'all, it's Kenitra. So today we're going to be talking about my top favorite palettes. These ones are from 2020, but these ones are a must carry into 2021 because they are that good. So they are both coming from the same brand, and if you have not guessed it, I've been using it in a lot of my more recent looks, but this is the Born This Way Too Faced palettes. Y'all, when I say that these palettes might be better than my Pat McGrath ones, I am not lying to you. These ones are pigmented, high quality, they blend very well. Literally my eyeshadow time has cut down simply because these ones blend so quickly. Effortless. So these are the two palettes right here that we're going to be talking about today. Y'all, they came out not too far away from each other, maybe a few months, if that, when they both came out. I would say that I bought this one first only because I needed a bright eyeshadow color palette. Usually I'm not big when it comes to bright eye colors simply because I'm not sure how they're gonna show up. Sometimes pinks may look more purple, sometimes oranges start to look more red, especially when I'm trying to put it on my eyes, and if I don't set it properly, that can be a result of a disaster. So this was the first one I got. So this is the Mariale Amour Caliente palette. I just love the name more. So I love the packaging on here, which is what I love the most. It's just a pretty palette, like just looking at it. Now, actually getting into what we care about are these colors, y'all. Like, these, they're good. Okay, so usually when I'm looking for a palette, I usually go down a little small checklist just to see, is this palette usable, because nobody wants to go out and spend $20-$30 plus on a palette and then come to find out you can't even use it, right? So usually when I looked at this palette when I first saw it, of course the colors were just pretty, but seeing that it had mattes and shimmers, what really attracted me to it is that it had dark shimmers too. You don't see a lot of palettes that have dark shimmers, but you need them. So not only do they have like the gold ones in here, they have golds, coppers, but then you also get a pink and a red. Absolutely love that. Very genius idea. All of these pair really good. Out of the 12 of these, I've used 11. That is rare, especially because a lot of times there are colors like this one right here that is so light that usually doesn't show up very good on my skin tone, so I usually don't use it, but I've used all those colors pretty much. That's what makes this palette even more amazing. I think the next thing I like about it is that it has pops of colors in here, but then they also have colors that help tone it back down. So granted, we do see some hot pinks in here. I do still get purples. Purples are usually a must. If it's a color palette, I expect dark purple. Don't know why, but it's always necessary. Other than that, we still have something, it's not brown in here, which I usually like a brown matte in a palette as well, but this one is sufficient. This one is more of like a burnt orange. It still works perfectly fine. And then you also have a slightly brighter orange over here too. Those are things I usually just go down. Next thing I also look at is, okay, are there a bunch of colors that may be too chalky, could possibly look ashy on my skin tone? Most of these are very pigmented. They work good, and like I said, out of 12 I've used 11. And so last thing I also look at is just saying, does it have ashy or chalky colors that I feel like I just can't work with? You don't want a palette that's going to be half full of things you can't even use, especially for your skin tone. So this one, like I said, out of the 12 I used 11 of them, and I'm pretty sure that last one I probably could use as like a highlighter under my brow since it is too bright. Then I probably would just do that. So that one works perfect. This one checks everything off of my list. When you're looking for something to start off, I'm not sure for beginners if you'd want to start off with a palette like this, only because it's super bright. They have pinks in here and they definitely come at you, and you have to kind of be ready to know what to blend together in here. These do not scream out what colors you should put together. Usually for me, I will put the pinks and purples together. Of course, more than often I've been using this pink and then a light pink with it and do like a pink shimmer with it. So it does give you a little bit of a guide to how to use it. So it is somewhat beginner friendly, so definitely something you would want to try and invest in. Okay y'all, so going into this next palette, this is also, like I said, Born This Way. This is a Too Faced one as well. This one is one that I live by, y'all. When I say that you can do a quick look, you can do a grocery store run, you can also do a glam, you can do a girls night out, you can do a girls night in with this palette, and you'll be good. So you may say, why would a nude palette that has barely any colors in there really be something that works for almost any occasion? Number one, I love the packaging. The packaging has such a beautiful gradient. It reminds me of like a crayon box for some reason. But going into what we actually care about, the colors, y'all. Once again, it's only about 3 colors out of this palette that I don't use typically, but most of the time I do blend them in every now and then. Not a lot of colors that I'm not using out of this palette. top things I love about this palette is that, of course, it goes the whole entire shade range. When people talk about, oh, they cater to different shades, this one really hits it on the mark. It literally goes from pale to a dark brown, and the dark brown actually is a nude eyeshadow for me. Top tier, amazing. Whenever a brand can do that, that goes down as a note in my notebook that this is a good palette right here. So ultimately, when it says nude palette, it is giving you all nudes, and typically for me, I would say between these shades right here, so this cocoa one and then also this one, if I wanted to create a complete nude look out of this, those would be my go-to color. So of course, I'm more on the darker end of that spectrum, but it works. Not only is that, but each color is also paired with a shimmer. So even if you have no idea what you're doing with this palette, this is why I recommend it to all beginners. If you even don't know what you're doing with this palette, I always say start with this one. Why? Because everything is paired together. If you don't know what colors you want to mix, simply, if I'm going for a quick look, y'all, I'm gonna do this dark brown shimmer and then this dark brown color. That's it. Do this matte color in your crease and then you stick it with a shimmer and you are good to go, y'all. This is what makes me love this palette so much, is that it's right there for you. If you want a pink look, you can literally go in and just do a shimmer pink and then do the matte pink that goes along with it. These pair very well together. For example, if you do want to kind of go across the spectrum because you kind of want to get, you know, a little more jazzy with how your looks are, you can always just start from something that is at the beginning of the spectrum and then use whatever shade range you're in and combine the two, and you will come out to a perfect combination. This one is pretty much foolproof. You cannot mess this palette up, and this is why I recommend it 10 out of 10. I use this palette probably at least a couple times a week. Whenever I'm putting on makeup, I usually look to this palette and say, what can I do with it? Not only that, but it pairs well with other things. So I usually even use these two together simply because if I want to do a pop of color, I add this, and if I really want to tone down one of those pops of color, let's just say like a pink, I can always go in and probably do maybe a matte pink with it, or I can kind of do one of these like lighter brown colors and it tones my whole look down. That's what we love about it. Whenever your palette can pair good with other things, that also elevates a palette, and guess what? It makes it more usable. That's what we love about palettes. Both of these palettes are a creation and a gift from God, y'all. So I am telling you guys, these are great investments. Like I said, once you set your eyes properly, they are a walk in the park. I've never had an issue with blending them in. If you guys have watched any of my other videos, blendability is very important on my list of why you should get an eyeshadow palette, especially because when you're putting on colors, you don't want to spend all day blending, but you do want to have good gradients on your eyes. Like I said, if you're trying to debate between a Morphe palette and then one of these palettes, y'all, I'm telling y'all, it might just be worth a little more spending this time, simply because, like I said, the color comes off very vibrant. I can literally dust my brush on there about 2 times and I'm good to go, and it shows up perfectly. With a Morphe one, sometimes you just kind of have to build up that color. Like I say all the time, Morphe is good, but it does take more time. This one, like I said, you get straight to the point. Usually I'm not always pushing more expensive palettes, but these ones are definitely worth your time, worth your money, and I will start doing much more looks with these. I think I've already done one, so this one is probably about 2 videos back. If you guys want to look back at that video, I did a bright pink look with this one, so it was like a Barbie-ish look. This one, I will start focusing more on this one because, like I said, this one is very much beginner friendly, very useful, and definitely should be on your hand. If you had to buy one of these two, it should definitely be this one. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, whatever it is. And like I said, refer back to any other videos because I did make one with a bright color look. But as always, y'all, thank you so much. And tune in next time, y'all. It's Kenitra. Keep up with me.